Douglas Ross has urged pro-UK voters to put Scotland on the road to recovery by stopping an SNP majority and the clear threat of another independence referendum. The Scottish Tory leader warned the country cannot rebuild from the coronavirus pandemic because of the looming prospect of a second divisive poll on breaking up Britain. Launching his party's Holyrood election manifesto in Glasgow, Mr. Ross appealed to people who have never voted Tory before to lend their ballots and derail Nicola Sturgeon's plans. He claimed Labour and the Lib Dems are too weak to stand up to Ms. Sturgeon's SNP as he asked for backing in the national interest. The Tory manifesto set out plans for 15 major bills over the course of the next Scottish Parliament term on jobs, the economy, local services, health and climate change. Achieving full employment the number one priority for the next 5 years, the 58-page document said. But Mr. Ross warned recovery from COVID could not be achieved with the threat of independence on the table, and Ms. Sturgeon's drive would wreck the economy. The SNP leader last week said another vote on separation should happen by the end of 2023, if there is a nationalist majority after the May 6 election. Her manifesto insisted a re-elected SNP administration would push ahead with arranging a poll, despite Boris Johnson ruling out a second referendum while he is in office. The Tories have put their opposition to another independence referendum at the heart of their campaign. They more than doubled their seats to 31 in the 2016 election when then-leader Ruth Davidson made the party a rallying point for unionist voters, helping to deprive the SNP of a majority. Citing the result, Mr. Ross said, "Just like last time, Nicola Sturgeon thinks she has got this election in the bag. But if we come together again, we can prove her wrong again, we can prevent an SNP majority and win a Scottish Parliament working in our national interest." Mr. Ross said Scotland's place in the UK had already helped it through the COVID-19 pandemic, pointing to the furlough scheme and the vaccine programme, and said Conservatives would build on this. However, he said none of this would be possible if the next Parliament was focused on a new referendum, arguing that would be the height of recklessness. Mr. Ross said Labour was unwilling and unable to stand up to the nationalists, while the Lib Dems wished the issue would go away. He also repeatedly accused Ms. Sturgeon of neglecting her duty as First Minister on health, education and drug deaths in order to prioritise secession. Appealing to non-Tory supporters to lend his party their regional list vote, he said, "We need to choose to rebuild Scotland now. Even if you have never thought of yourself as a Conservative or have never voted for us before. Only the Scottish Conservatives have the strength across the country to stop the SNP from winning a majority and wrecking our recovery with a second referendum. If pro-UK voters unite behind the Scottish Conservatives, then we can stop an SNP majority. We have done it before. So, let's now come together in the national interest, let's keep our country united and focused on the task at hand. Let's get on the road to recovery and not allow the SNP to divert us with another independence referendum." Policies outlined include tax cuts for house buyers and business owners, with a rates relief package that the party said would save the average shop £3,000, and scrap public car parking charges to revive town centres. The party also wants to close the widening income tax gap with the rest of the UK. The manifesto also outlined plans to recruit 3,000 extra teachers and put more police officers on the streets. Ms. Sturgeon will claim a mandate for a new referendum even if the SNP falls short of a majority, as long as a pro-independence majority is returned with the help of the Scottish Greens or Alex Salmond's Alba party. Mr. Ross said he was not going to predict the outcome of the election, but he added, "People across Scotland, they recognised the threat in 2016 that the SNP would use a majority to hold a second independence referendum, and that threat is as vivid and clear now as it was 5 years ago." Scottish Labour leader Anas Sarwar claimed Mr. Ross's campaign was tanking, and said the Tories had nothing positive to say or offer the people of Scotland. Scottish Lib Dem leader Willie Rennie said voters who had backed Ruth Davidson's Tories should switch to his party as they were not attracted to the party led by Douglas Ross and Boris Johnson. Keith Brown, the SNP's deputy leader, said, "Today's Tory manifesto shows that behind their rhetoric, these are the same old Tories, completely out of touch, planning tax cuts for the rich and austerity for everyone else, and only interested in widening the gap between rich and poor in our society." Quote,